Okay everyone, hello and welcome to another Arduino for Me tutorial. Today we'll be going over something that I've custom made. It's pretty neat. We'll be using our LCD screen with 3 buttons, a red, green, blue LED, and 2 regular LEDs. Alright, so let's just show this off. Basically what I've done is I've taken the other end of this, the cord that you use to upload your code to the Arduino board. I've taken the other end and I've plugged it into one of these USB to outlet adapters. So I plugged the other end in there and I just plugged it in the wall. Another thing I wanted to mention was that I am using a Mega board. That is that is a different board from what we usually use. We usually use an Uno, which is smaller than a Mega board. Mega board is about double the size, as you can see there, which means it has more pins, and it's better for using with shields. So while I have this shield on, I now have all these other extra pins. There are 2 extra ground pins and 2 extra 5-volt pins, but we'll go over that later. So for now, let's just basically show what this does. I'm gonna see if I can get this shield back on here. Alright. So from here, let's plug it in. Now, right now you've got a blank screen. Basically what this is it's an interface for like a starship or a spaceship or something, and basically just showing off how to use the buttons with the LCD. You can change this text to whatever you want, but for now let's just go with the example. So we're going to push this button right here, push that button, and it turns this red, green, blue LED to red, and it turns on this green LED here, and it says ship mode set, red alert. Now we're going to push this other button here, this one right here, and then it's going to turn this one green, and this red LED is turned on now. Now it says ship mode set, all green. So then we can push this last button up here at the top. Push that, turns everything off, all 3 LEDs off, and it says menu, please press a button. So you can push that button as many times as you want. You'll just keep going through that. Basically, if you just stay like that, it stays on button. It doesn't loop. You just push the button again and it'll go back. So yeah, that's basically what this does. You can what I've done is I've done 3 different if sequences. So an if sequence for every button. And what I've told it is if this button's down, then we're going to print to the LCD some text and then do something output to some of these LEDs. So basically what we've got here, I wanted to go over the circuit a bit. So what we have is we've got at the bottom we have ground. The bottom of our see if I can adjust my resolution. At the bottom of our Arduino Mega board, we've got 2 grounds here. Pretty sure you can see here. That's a ground. Oops, that's a ground, and that's a ground. All the way at the bottom of your board, it's marked GND. So those are 2 grounds. So basically, what I've done is I've grounded both rails on the sides, both negatively marked rails. If you're not sure how breadboarding works, you can check out one of my past tutorials on breadboarding. There should be like a link to that video on the screen right now, or just go check the description of this video on YouTube. The code for this board can also be found on my website, which will be in the description of this video, or if you're watching this on Instructables, you can find that on this Instructables page. There'll be a link to my website there. You want to just find this video on the website and download the code next to this video. So basically Then you've got your 5 volts, 5 volts up at the top here. These two are 5 volts, first two. Then you've just got it's numbered down from there. Alright, so I've put power to the positively marked rails on both sides of this breadboard. Then what I've done is I've taken this red, green, blue LED and I've taken each one of those prongs, or leads as they're called, and I'm going to show you a chart right now that will show you what each one of those is for. There are 4 of them, and each is for a different color. Well, actually, yeah, basically each is for a different color, except for this one here, which is ground. Ground is the longest lead out of all 4 of them. Then the next shortest is blue, then green to the right of blue, and red to the left of ground. So take a good look at that. You can pause the video if you want to write that down or something, but that's the layout for your red, green, blue LED. So you can set it up however you like to match with the right colors. Then basically what I did was I grounded out the ground pin, jumping from that row where the ground lead is over to the negatively marked rail, and then I just took I took jumpers from the other 3 leads over to, let's see, went to the 21, 20, and 19, the pins on your Arduino board, right over there. Those white wires are those 3 LEDs. Now, let's see, this is power, this is, then basically, you got your basic, I'm using a 330K resistor on the LED itself, and then I'm using, then I'm grounding that. Then the power, or the communication, is going from the longer lead. LEDs are polarized, which basically means that one lead is longer than the other lead. The longest lead is power, and the shorter lead is ground. You want to make sure that you don't get those two mixed up, and that you'll be able to tell the difference between the two. You want to always have a resistor on the ground, because I made the mistake the other night while I was working on this project. I didn't put a resistor on the LED, and I released the smoke, the ominous blue smoke. Electronics don't tend to work after you've released that smoke. So it just kind of went up and poof. Bit of smoke, no fire, thankfully. But I learned my lesson. Always remember to have a resistor on the ground lead, the smaller lead of your LED. So the nice thing is that with Arduino, you can go in the code and you can actually see where you're going to connect everything up to. I've done this in the code. If you're looking at the code, I'll talk you through this now. You can go to the top of the code, then you'll have the hashtag include liquid crystal. Then below that there's the liquid crystal, LCD, parentheses, buttons, or the numbers. Then below that you've got the const int, and then you've got a whole bunch of those const int. Those const int will basically show you where everything is going to get connected to, what pins you're connecting everything to on your Arduino board. So I've got button pin 1, button pin 2, button pin 3. They're going to pin 23, pin 24, and pin 26. So, as you can see, I've taken... Oh, I did want to mention one more thing with the buttons, just so you guys aren't very confused. If you've got your buttons, you'll notice that two sides, it's more of a rectangle with the pins. I hope you understand it's a rectangle, and two sides are closer to each other than the other two sides. See, these are pretty wide apart, whereas these two are closer together. So basically, you only need to take you only need two pins from this button. These two over here. oops, I'm sorry, these two right here. And all you really need to do is take the you need one, power's going in, because what this button does is it completes the circuit between this pin and this pin. So you're going to put power in, so 5 volts going from your positively marked rail to this pin, and then you want to go from this other pin. Alright, here we go. Power, and then ground and communication. Power, here, ground and communication. Ground and communication is basically, I like to call it communication, but really what it's doing is it's going to the Arduino board, and it's basically communicating with the Arduino board. But you can put your ground and your communication on the same pin. In fact, it's much easier to do it that way. Basically, the way you do that is you take a resistor and you go from that row that button pin's on, I think you can see, and go right, just take the resistor, put it in the row, and the other end of the resistor goes in the negatively marked rail. Resistors are not polarized, so it doesn't matter which end you put where, which is good to know. Also, here's your power going in. I always like to keep ground's blue and orange is power. I don't stick to that strictly, but I'd like to get to that more to make it less confusing. So, yeah, that's basically how this is set up. If you do have any questions, you can ask me in the comments. If you're looking at this on Instructables, ask me in the comments below. You can check out our YouTube page. You can go to our community on Google. Check out our Google Plus page. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube page and follow us on Instructables. And we will see you in the next tutorial.